Welcome to your Houston Rewind for October 10th through the 14th. I'm KHOU 11 digital anchor Brandy Smith. It's been a busy week for you and for us, so you probably haven't had a chance to watch every story. Well, consider this your invitation to catch up. Let's rewind. On Monday, 3 years after a beloved Harris County deputy, Sandeep Dhaliwal, was gunned down during a traffic stop, the man accused of killing him went on trial. Robert Solis represented himself after firing his attorneys. Gerald Harris was in the courtroom as the trial got started.
Opening statements began with prosecutors laying out a case against Robert Solis, whom they say shot Harris County Deputy Sandeep Dhaliwal in the head, killing him.
He was a sheriff's county deputy. His neighborhood was Copperbrook, a mostly residential neighborhood that he loved.
In front of the jury, prosecutors laid out the eventful day in 2019 of what started out as a normal patrol for Deputy Dhaliwal. He pulled over a silver car that Solis was allegedly driving.
What he couldn't know, but what he desperately needed to know, was that the driver was armed and dangerous.
Prosecutors say Solis initially lied about his identity to Dhaliwal, giving him fake information leading up to his murder.
And you will see how that man got the jump on Dhaliwal when he turned his back. And you will see how he ran up on Dhaliwal. You will hear the pow of the .45 caliber bullet penetrating his brainstem.
It was an injury that both the hospital surgeon and medical examiner says was not survivable.
But you're going to hear evidence from the doctors that the gunshot wound to his head that penetrated his brainstem was not the type of wound that you survive.
The killing of Dhaliwal hit the Sikh community to its core. He fought for his right to wear a turban and beard while on duty as part of his religious garb.
Solis decided not to give an opening statement, but day one also included testimony from witnesses in the neighborhood where Deputy Dhaliwal was shot. Pop over to our YouTube channel to watch our coverage of the trial this week. The Uvalde CISD School Board voted Monday to accept the retirement of its superintendent, Dr. Harrell. He started in the district more than 30 years ago. Amen. A sea of support greeted Harrell outside the board meeting, but inside, families of those lost in the Robb Elementary shooting expressed conflicting emotions about the support he's receiving.
19 children and 2 teachers died, and we couldn't get that out there in here every time.
Someone has to take responsibility for those deaths.
Harrell says he'll stay on through at least the end of the school year or until the board names a replacement. The Astros faced off against the Mariners this week, but before they did, fans loaded up on gear to be ready for game time. On Monday, Sherman Chow got a look at some of the most popular merch.
No shortage of Astros gear, so you can wear your heart on your sleeve, chest, head.
I bagged a shirt for my little dog, Bruiser, a cup for my mama, a koozie, a rally towel, and a vintage shirt.
Michelle's sister Celeste came in from Dallas for the postseason shopping spree.
We were Astro buddies, you know, back in the day in the Dome. That's why today we're buying the vintage Dome things. We remember that so well. We've been huge fans.
Some go old school, others take a shine to the new stuff.
I love bling, always have.
It's easy to spend a couple of $100 here, but fans say it's worth it. And for those attending the postseason games, they'll get a taste of some new fanfare, too.
Some fried pickle chip nachos, so we have 3 different flavors of those.
The menu also steps up its game during the playoffs. Like all good coaches, you got to manage your lineup for the entire month.
We have a couple other new items, but we're not going to let everybody have those yet because we still have ALCS to go, and then we're going to World Series, so we have different items to highlight for those.
As for tomorrow, Houston's game time is 2:37 in the afternoon, not prime time.
I think we got shafted, to put it lightly, so to speak.
I think that's baloney.
You were thinking of another word, weren't you?
But
baloney.
I see that light.
If you missed game 1 or 2, we've got you covered. Check out our live updates on KHOU.com. We are still weeks away from Halloween. And then there's Thanksgiving. But you wouldn't know it driving through Highland Village. The shopping center skipped right to December, and it's put up its Christmas decor. Brittany Ford explored whether it's too early.
Decking the halls with boughs of holly in October.
My first reaction was, wow, isn't it a little too early?
I don't even have my pumpkins out, and they've gone straight to Christmas.
Usually they put it out around Thanksgiving, so for it to be out before Halloween is actually like...
Yeah, it's a little weird.
Whoa.
It's a little weird. Highland Village in the River Oaks area getting a jump start to the holiday season, putting up their annual Christmas decor over the weekend.
Would you say that is a tactic that they're beginning early? It's starting kind of earlier and earlier?
You are definitely correct. The selling season is starting earlier.
Barbara Stewart, consumer sciences professor at U of H, says recent studies have shown shoppers are looking to make their list and check it twice earlier this year.
I think inflation is impacting consumers this season. People are worried about prices going up. In fact, 33% of consumers have reported that they want to buy now because they're afraid that as it gets closer to Christmas, it'll cost just a little bit more.
Her advice:
my number one tip is always know what your plan is. Have a plan, have a budget, and stick to it.
And while these subtle signs of the holidays approaching bring conflicting feelings for some.
We will, but not just yet.
I would love to be excited about seeing the decorations, mid-November, early December, but not this early.
Stewart says it's a trend that's likely here to stay.
It's starting earlier, and I expect we'll see even earlier next year.
A recent study by Bankrate.com found half of holiday shoppers plan to get started by Halloween. On Tuesday, a jury heard opening statements in the second trial of A.J. Armstrong. He's accused of killing his parents when he was just 16 years old. A.J.'s first murder trial in 2019 ended with a hung jury. Matt Doherty reported this trial will likely take weeks because of the long list of witnesses and evidence.
Prosecutors say A.J. Armstrong had a bad relationship with his parents.
They were constantly accusing him of lying. He had failed out of school, and they were constantly getting on him.
A year before the murders, they say A.J. tried to set his family's Bel Air home on fire just before his parents were killed.
There was a search on an iPad found in the defendant's room that says how to rig a car bomb so it will explode.
In the early morning of July 29, 2016, 42-year-old Don Armstrong and 42-year-old former NFL player Antonio Armstrong Sr. were both found dead in their bed with gunshot wounds. They had pillows over their heads. Prosecutors say Houston police ultimately determined that the couple's 16-year-old son, AJ, was the killer.
He has absolutely no emotion. He does not care, or appears not to care about the consideration of his parents. He doesn't even have questions for how all of this happened.
The evidence is going to show you his demeanor that is such that there's no way to just execute his parents.
Defense attorneys have a totally different story.
This is AJ in a Pee Wee football league about 3 years before the incident happened. That's his dad.
And they have a totally different theory.
Josh is extremely psychotic with command voices to hurt self and others.
Armstrong's lawyers say the killer was likely AJ's schizophrenic older brother.
Thought he was God. Thought he could fly.
They also claim there is no physical evidence linking AJ to the crime. Extended family members appear to agree, taking AJ's side since his arrest.
Also Tuesday, a jury declared a Baytown police officer not guilty of using excessive force when he shot and killed an unarmed black woman. Pamela Turner's family says she was diagnosed with schizophrenia and was in crisis when then Officer Juan de la Cruz tried to arrest her for outstanding warrants. There was a confrontation during which Turner grabbed the officer's taser and used it on him. He then shot her. In a statement, Harris County District Attorney Kim Ogg says she disagrees with the jury's decision, but she still respects it. Governor Greg Abbott made a stop in the Woodlands on Tuesday as his campaign spends time in key suburban areas. Recent internal polling shows him down in both Tarrant and Fort Bend counties. Gerald Harris looked at how Abbott's trying to get these once red counties to swing Republican again.
Suburban voters are a key block of voters Governor Greg Abbott has leaned on in the past.
We move at the speed of business in the state of Texas.
Abbott is back in the Houston area, this time speaking with the Greater Houston Builders Association in the Woodlands, trying to maintain suburban voters. Abbott invited the press but declined to take questions regarding his campaign.
I don't know what the end will be, but I have to try. And we did.
Cynthia Ginyard is the Fort Bend County Democratic Party chair and one of the architects of flipping Fort Bend blue. Abbott is polling down by double digits in favorability, according to reports in Fort Bend, a suburban Houston county that turned blue the last time Beto O'Rourke ran and stayed that way in 2020.
I would say 9 to 10 down, and but that's understandable. The Republican Party, including Governor Abbott, have gone totally extreme outside of the bell curve.
Ginyard says Roe v. Wade being overturned and Abbott's immigration, education, and property tax stances are a driving force in uniting the electorate against Abbott.
It doesn't matter whether you're a Democrat, Republican, or independent. If your policies are inhumane, your policies are inhumane. And they don't want to live like that.
Fort Bend is one of the fastest growing and diverse counties in Texas and could reach 1 million residents in the near future. Abbott spent time block walking in the county earlier this year, underscoring his expectations to compete there.
That let us know that our voters are getting out there. They are seeing it. They are getting it.
Beto O'Rourke released a statement in response to Abbott's efforts, saying in part, voters in Fort Bend County, Tarrant County, and communities all across the state overwhelmingly oppose his extreme abortion ban with no exception for rape or incest, reject his push to defund public school classrooms, and disagree with his refusal to take the bipartisan common sense steps to keep kids safe from gun violence. Also on Tuesday, a little thing called Jordon Alvarez happened. His walk-off 3-run homer in the bottom of the 9th won Game 1 of the ALDS against the Mariners. And that happened in the middle of the KHOU 11 news at 6.
That will push down toward Houston and push through, and that opens the door to some cooler air going into Monday, Tuesday. What happened, Cannon? Oh my, okay. So breaking news, the Astros have just won the game in a walk-off home run. We'll have all about it coming up here in just a second. Thanks, Cannon. Okay, so the studio's been going crazy. I know you couldn't hear it on the mic, but apparently something big happened in the Astros game. What's going on out there?
We won the game. We'll be back after this.
High drama. We're exhausted.
Lord help me.
For more on that exciting win now, the Astros win Game 1 of the ALDS 8-7 over the Mariners. Let's check in with Sherman Chow. Hey, Sherman.
Oh my God, I left you like 3 minutes ago and I thought we had lost this game. We heard a huge exploded inside that Minute Maid Park. We thought, what the heck happened? Everybody run out. Okay, guys, I'm outside. I don't know. What the heck happened?
We just won the game. It was crazy. We were about to walk out. We said, no, let's watch the last. Alvarez came up. He took one for the team. We won.
Okay, so how did he do it? What happened? Was it a home run?
It was a home run. 3-run homer.
Walk off? I heard it was a triple.
There you go. Yes, we won. That's all that matters.
8-7. That's what they're telling me. These are the fans who saw it all. The ones who left early. Sorry, baby. You need to stick to the finish line with these Astros. Oh my gosh, the energy exploding here. Guys, talk to me. Astros, yes. I tell you what, this team has aged me 20 years this afternoon. Guys, back to you.
Believe it or not, Sherman still had a voice the next morning. Not sure how. The man whose road rage led to 2 young Houston boys being severely burned will spend 20 years in prison. A judge handed down that sentence on Wednesday. Byron Rivera was convicted on 2 counts of aggravated assault. Investigators say he shot into a family's pickup truck, igniting fireworks, which burned the toddlers who were in the back seat. In a statement, the boy's mother, Jasmine Smith, told KHOU 11 in part, quote, Today was bittersweet. While I am beyond grateful for the guilty verdicts for me and Reginald, I can't help but feel defeated and unable to celebrate because my babies haven't received the justice they so very deserve. KHOU 11 is your education station, and we know school safety is on the minds of most parents these days. Lauren Tallarico looked at referendums on the ballot next month that aim to improve security.
Election Day, voters in districts like Fort Bend and Spring will decide not only on political leaders, but school safety measures too, in case of a worst-case scenario, like in Spring ISD, where the district's hoping to add shooter detection systems to all school locations.
Seconds equals lives when it comes to this technology.
Joe Byron is the vice president of sales for Shooter Detection Systems, a company that provides this type of technology nationwide. It works like this. Sensors are placed around a school that detect gunfire. Once activated, cameras can be integrated, and law enforcement, teachers, parents, or whoever else the district decides are alerted, moment by moment.
Facts that we can gather in terms of what the shooter looks like, where the gunshot was detected, what floor, what area of the building, we can, or the public can, create a strategy surrounding that in real time.
It can also allow teachers to decide if it's safe to run, depending on their location.
How does it tell the difference between a gunshot and a locker slamming really loud?
It's detecting a specific audio signature from a gunshot and also an infrared invisible flash of light that occurs every time a gun is fired.
This technology would be paid for as part of Spring ISD's $850 million bond if passed by voters. Meanwhile, in Fort Bend ISD, the district hopes part of its $992.6 million bond will add a police officer to every elementary school, in addition to the current officers at all middle and high schools. For more details about both districts' bond referendums, you can go to KHOU.com. And remember, Election Day is November 8th. In Fort Bend County, I'm Lauren Tallarico, KHOU 11 News.
Parents, you told us school safety is a top priority in our KHOU 11 News survey. We want to hear more from you. Text the word survey to 713-526-1111 and we'll text you back a link. A woman's purse can sometimes hold secrets that stay private forever. When a purse was found under the floorboards of the stage of an old high school, that's when the quest to find its owner began. And now that the owner has been identified and her purse returned, Matt Doherty shared her story.
But I laid down and had to get down there and kind of dig it out.
Arturo Rodriguez is not an archaeologist.
And how it got there, I really don't know.
If only oak planks could talk. The contractor and his crew were hired to replace the stage at the old League City High School earlier this year. When they'd finished pulling up the floorboards, Arturo saw something shiny between the joists.
Little purse, and it stands out. We opened it up. Me and my employees, we looked at it. Oh my God, wow, let's look at the pictures, So that's when I first thought, let me turn this in to somebody.
In the months that followed, experts got involved.
50, 60, 70 years old, but they're still there.
They were able to come up with the name for a possible owner of the purse, Beverly Williams. But the trail stopped there. Nothing was found in the school's archives and records. Online searches hadn't helped either. The League City Historical Society put out the call, and so did we.
Well, if you have any information on Beverly Williams...
In days, the puzzle was solved.
When I got that information that, who was Beverly Williams, it opened up the past.
Decades ago, 79-year-old Robert Schleier walked the floor of this gymnasium as a student.
It's written with all my love, Robert Charles Schleier.
Once upon a time, Charles knew Beverly Williams well.
In her little diary, she said something about tonight at Kima Teen Club. I started going steady with Walt. And I'm trying to figure out, was that before or after me? But it was before. I've got that figured out.
There are some feelings that live for a lifetime.
In a way, she saved my life. I came from a really disturbed childhood, and she lived right down the street from me. And we walked along the beach, we sat on the pier, we talked.
The day Charles turned 18, he enlisted in the Marines and was sent to California. Not long after that, the two made plans to meet one night at the beach, but it wasn't meant to be.
She was living with her grandmother. And they shooed me away. that meeting was foiled. I got to
They never saw each other again.
God, I can't. Can you hold it a second?
3 years ago, Charles became a widower.
I'm unhappy. I'm lonely. I don't like living alone. I really had hoped that I could come back and maybe we could recapture something that we once had. That ain't gonna happen.
Beverly Williams died 6 years ago.
It all fit in that tiny little purse. That's amazing.
Well, it's mom. That is pretty much true.
I can't believe it's still closed.
The treasures found in Beverly's purse have allowed her daughters a chance to meet their mom as a child.
Everything in that bag meant something to her. It was either personal notes, prayers that she said.
Few things on earth are more personal than the contents of a woman's purse.
God, you look like her.
Powerful enough to make memories come to life 63 years later. In League City, I'm Matt Doherty, KHOU 11 News.
This is what it was like in the stands at Minute Maid Park with Jordon Alvarez winning Game 1. The fan who caught that ball got tickets as a surprise for his birthday. Janelle Bluda talked to him about the unforgettable celebration.
It's the walk-off home run everyone is still talking about. And on the other end of that heart-stopping hit, a 26-year-old man on his birthday.
It's going to be pretty hard to top this one.
For Dylan Harrell, his ticket to Game 1 of the ALDS was a birthday surprise from his sister.
She even made the comment and said that this is where Jordon hits his big home run, so maybe we'll have one hit up there somewhere near us, and lo and behold.
The majority of the game wasn't the easiest to watch, but that very last hit by Jordon Alvarez was unforgettable.
It was really quick that I realized, oh my gosh, this ball's coming right at us.
So he did what any true fan would do. He stuck his arm out.
I'm really surprised there's not a bruise, but it hit me about right there, and then it just kind of fell to the ground, and it hit the ground, and then I just reached down and picked it up.
But it's not even Dylan's first big moment at Minute Maid. When he was 7, he made it on the big screen holding this sign at an Astros game.
I couldn't spell very good, and I put win or lose, I heart the Astros.
And in 2017, as a collegiate fisherman, he won the Bassmaster College Series Classic.
And the weigh-in was at Minute Maid. And that was the same year that they won the World Series. And, Minute Maid just holds a special place in my heart.
But Tuesday night's catch is likely the one he'll cherish the most.
He hit it just on the right spot to fly to section 253, row 6, seat number 4. I mean, that's insane.
We got an update ahead of Game 2 when Alvarez met Dylan and autographed that walk-off home run ball. The Astros slugger also signed Dylan's jersey. Keep tabs on the Astros in the postseason by texting Astros to 713-526-1111. We will send you back links to the schedule and more. For the first time since he took on the job, we heard from the new CEO of ERCOT. That's the agency in charge of managing the Texas power grid. Pablo Vegas inherited a grid that failed miserably 18 months ago and has been in reform and rebuilding mode since. Jeremy Rogalski explained one of the CEO's biggest challenges will be rebuilding public trust in Texas power.
The board is thrilled to have found the right guy for the job.
Veteran utility executive Pablo Vegas is confident ERCOT is on the right track. After dozens of power demand records this summer, the grid held strong.
We continue to be tested. We continue to pass those tests. That's how we rebuild the trust and the faith in the reliability of the electric grid.
Since the historic winter storm left millions of Texans in the dark, energy reform measures, he said, have made the grid more resilient and reliable.
The weatherization efforts we have made have had a real impact. We are bringing resources online earlier so that there's always cushion and reserve available.
Vegas also takes on a lengthy to-do list in his new role, replacing ERCOT's aging generation fleet, adding more transmission lines, and redesigning the electricity market to keep power companies in Texas while keeping Texans' power bills down. Challenges that the Public Utility Commission is betting on Vegas to lead the way.
We do not want the lights to ever go out again, and we're delivering on that.
See more of what Jeremy and the rest of the KHOU 11 Investigates team is working on online. Just go to khou.com/investigations. On Thursday, Common Spirit Health, the parent company of St. Luke's, confirmed it's dealing with a ransomware attack. Its systems, operated at more than 100 hospitals across the country, have been down for longer than a week. Brittany Ford took a closer look at how the attack affects patient information and care.
St. Luke's Health has had all of its computer systems offline since last week in what has been confirmed to be a ransomware attack.
It's a mess.
Chris Brock is a professor at U of H's Hobby School of Public Affairs.
And so the question has to be for St. Luke's, do you pay the ransom? Did they try paying the ransom already?
Common Spirit Health, parent company of St. Luke's Health, sent a statement Wednesday saying they are following proper protocols to mitigate the disruption and maintain continuity of care.
Especially with your electronic health record, your doctor or other provider doesn't see what meds you're on. They don't see any of your prior history.
KHOU 11 has received multiple emails highlighting concerns on how the issue is causing serious delays in patient care. Most recently, someone who claims to be a doctor telling patients in a Reddit post to avoid the hospital altogether, writing the hospital is in survival mode, operating below the standard of care.
In your experience, I mean, patient information could potentially be crypto and locked up as a result of this.
Right, and never come back.
We've asked both St. Luke's and Common Spirit Health how this is affecting patient information, and were directed to previous statements released.
What usually happens is the hackers also steal data that they feel they can sell.
Looking ahead, Bronx says,
this is a many million-dollar problem potentially.
Brittany Ford, KHOU 11 News.
A big announcement Thursday about the 73rd annual HEB Thanksgiving Day Parade. 50 Cent will serve as Grand Marshal, and Ron Trevino shared the parade goes back generations.
Located in the heart of downtown Houston, it's one of the oldest Thanksgiving Day parades in the country. But the pandemic put it on pause in 2020. Then last year, the threat of lightning called it off just minutes before it was set to start.
So hopefully we're praying for no lightning, okay? And looking forward to this year's parade.
This year, several 100,000 Houstonians are expected to once again line the streets to check it out.
Generations of Houstonians have enjoyed this free, family-friendly parade, and I look forward to seeing my fellow Houstonians lining the downtown streets as we celebrate together.
The parade will cover over 20 city blocks. It will feature all kinds of elaborate floats, colorful marching bands, high-flying balloons, and other entries that are uniquely Houston. The Grand Marshal this year, Curtis Jackson. You may know him as 50 Cent.
Curtis has immersed himself in helping to level up Houston in all different ways since he's been here, fostering leadership skills in young people in the Houston community, in addition to supporting the NAACP toy drive.
And the parade's special guest, Dr. Peter Hotez, a Houston leader in the fight against COVID, who was last year's Grand Marshal in the parade that didn't happen. Fingers crossed Mother Nature doesn't steal the show this time around.
We have actually, our meteorologists have been instructed, no matter what happens, sunny and 70 is what's coming out of their mouth. Sunny and 70.
Sunny and 70 would also bring a 100% chance of pure holiday joy.
Remember, if you can't make it downtown, you can still watch from the comfort of your couch, even your bed. Just turn on KHOU 11 at 9 a.m. Thanksgiving Day. Ron and Great Day Houston's Deborah Duncan will be your hosts. On Friday, several law enforcement officers and tow truck drivers shared their close calls on the roadside as part of Move Over, Slow Down Day. Adam Bennett showed us what the Texas law requires and the surprising number of Texans who reportedly don't follow it.
If you've ever been stranded on the highway shoulder, you know how scary it can be having all those cars and trucks whizzing by you. Well, people that work on the roadside every day say it's one thing to imagine a crash, it's another to see the aftermath.
This is what's left of Harris County Sheriff's Office Deputy Brian Bishop's truck. It was blocking a lane on the East Tex Freeway to protect a stranded driver back in August. Deputy Bishop was inside his truck when he noticed a car barreling toward him from behind.
I had to protect that stranded motorist. So at that point, I was a sitting duck, as they say. I closed my eyes and just started hitting my air horn to try to alert that driver, and he was never alerted till he hit the back of my vehicle.
That driver failed to follow the state's move over, slow down law. It requires drivers in Texas to move over one lane, if possible, when coming up on an emergency vehicle parked with its lights on. If that's not possible, drivers must slow down to at least 20 miles an hour below the speed limit. Same goes when they see TxDOT crews, construction vehicles, utility workers, and tow trucks.
This truck alone has been hit about 5 times, and almost fatality on the last one.
Harris County Sheriff's Office Deputy Robert Parker's truck was also hit on the highway last year.
10 vehicles, 1 might move.
AAA says 1 out of every 4 Texans they surveyed are unaware of the law.
Every year, about 24 emergency workers are killed by a vehicle struck on the side of the road.
That's why those who have survived those crashes are sharing their stories today.
So you got to ask yourself, what if that's my family member in that position?
Mechanical issues, we're there to help. And so we're just asking them for them to actually help us back.
Drivers who don't follow this law can get a ticket of up to $200. And if that driver causes a crash that injures a worker, that fine can jump up to $2,000. Adam Bennett, KHOU 11 News.
Voting by mail can be convenient, but not everyone qualifies to do so. On Friday, Rekha Mudaraj walked us through the steps of how to apply for a mail-in ballot.
Do you want to vote by mail this election? First, determine if you're eligible. You must be 65 years or older, be sick or disabled, be out of the county on Election Day, be expected to give birth within 3 weeks before or after Election Day, or be confined in jail but otherwise eligible. If you are eligible, go to votetexas.gov and print out an absentee ballot application and fill it out. You will need to provide one of the following numbers: a Texas driver's license, a personal ID number, an election ID certificate number, or the last 4 digits of your social security number. Then send the completed form into your county's election office or drop it off in person. It must be received by Friday, October 28th, if you want to receive a ballot for the midterm election. Voting by mail in Texas has been available to elderly voters or those with physical disabilities for decades. You can go to votetexas.gov for helpful tips on how to ensure your ballot is counted. I'm Rekha Mudaraj for KHOU 11 News.
Friday just happened to be National Haunted House Day, and the top haunt in the country is right in our backyard.
We are in Rocheron, Texas, Creepy Hollow. We have 3 main attractions. We have the Dark Woods, we have Pitch Black, which is basically a clown house, and then we have 288 Scare Factory.
This is just a tiny section of Creepy Hollow Haunted House. And yes, there are 3 haunted houses here, but it is about so much more than that. The organizers want this to be a full, spooky experience.
You can stay as long as you want until we say you can.
Stay to check out the fire dancers or aerial performers, watch the freak show, or visit the Oddities Museum.
Hello.
The Oddities Museum was just completely revamped. They installed a whole bunch of new stuff over there.
Over here, we have our Fiji mermaid.
There's a whole concourse of booths and shops.
A lot.
To keep visitors entertained between haunts.
All that go on the entirety of the night.
Not brave enough for the haunted houses? Not a problem here at Creepy Hollow. You can get a grounds pass that lets you explore the whole area. You never know who you'll run into.
And then after that, if you're like, hey, I want to buy for the rest of the haunts, you can do that too.
I decided to brave the 288 Scare Factory.
No, Mom, no, please.
Creatures were affected by various chemicals being spilled and have thus mutated and morphed into all sorts of nightmarish creatures.
They're coming! They're coming!
It's a little hard to see, but you get the picture.
Get out!
All ages are welcome. We do not pay for therapy, though.
I should have asked about that before I dragged my 15-year-old along with me. And did I mention this is a full contact haunt?
We can touch you, within reason, obviously. I've seen people get picked up and carried away. That freaks people out. My favorite thing, personally, is I like to eat people's hair. No one likes that.
Except Sam, apparently. Hope that helped you catch up on this past week and that you are ready for the next one. Remember, you can tune into KHOU 11 on air, online via KHOU.com and YouTube, as well as by using our KHOU 11 Plus app on Roku and Fire TV. Have a great week.